and welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host, Copelia, and I'm so glad you're watching because we have a really interesting topic today. It's the issue of homelessness, and the topic is homeless youth. And I say it's interesting because there's so much need in our city of Houston, and there's some amazing people that are doing something to help and make a difference. One of those people is Joshua Baker, Executive Director of AHOP, and AHOP is the A-Leaf Homeless Outreach Project. And Joshua, we're just so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm sure there's a busy schedule that you've taken some time off to come and be with us here, so we're grateful for that.
Thank you for having me.
So what does the A-Leaf Homeless Outreach Project do? What does AHOP do?
Well, one of our main things is we partner with the school district and A-Leaf, so AISD, A-Leaf Independent School District. And we get the numbers from the school district. So what we do is we provide housing. We've been able to house 6 families so far. We work with local apartment complexes and we get them in.
Wow.
We provide food, furniture, rent assistance, anything we can. Not only are we addressing the homeless issue, but also trying to prevent homelessness. So if there's a family who's facing eviction, we try to help any way we can with that as well.
That's incredible. So for people, we all know homelessness is a problem in Houston.
Yes, ma'am.
How big is the problem?
It's huge. It's a huge issue, and I think it's a lot bigger than most people think. Like you said, most of us know, living in Houston, we see, the panhandlers on the side of the street. But the issue goes a lot deeper than that. And the way that the school district actually classifies homelessness in their students, it's not just living on the street, but it may be living in a shelter. It may be 3 families living in a 2-bedroom apartment, maybe families with no running water, no electricity. So the issue is very huge, and I say a lot, people might not know how big it is because of that, because a lot of people are living in apartment complexes. There's a lot of rundown apartment complexes around the city. There's a lot of squatters in those apartment complexes. So it's kind of a hidden issue. It's out there up front, but there's also a side that's hidden from the public.
Now you mentioned working with A-Leaf ISD to identify these students. So when the schools realize, we have these students who are under these conditions. They might not be living on the streets, but they're not in a safe environment. They're not with all their needs provided for. How does AISD classify the students, and then how do you guys get involved?
So what they do, like I mentioned earlier, is it's no running water, no electricity, multiple families living in one unit. And what that does, you're like, well, at least they have a place to stay, but that could be maybe living with an aunt, an uncle, a friend. And so those kids don't know if they're going to be able to stay there tomorrow, the next day. They don't know what they're going to eat. It's still very low income. And so what we do is we work very closely with the homeless liaison of AISD. Actually, it was 2 months ago, there was an apartment complex that burned down. 12 families were displaced. And so they called us and we were able to provide assistance to them. Got some furniture, some rent assistance, housed some of them, food, clothing.
Wow. And
so that's what we do. We just team up with them, and when they ever have a problem, we try to meet that need as best we can. And we also have food drives, clothing drives, and all of the proceeds from that we give directly to the school district so they can distribute how they deem most appropriate.
So for regular families that might be watching Joy in Our Town today, and they have kids that go to A-Leaf ISD or to really any school in Houston, and their kids are in school with some students that are going through hard times, are there some things that they can be looking out for and maybe say, hey, are you okay? Can I help you? Is that something that they can do? Yes,
ma'am. A lot of the times, because in AISD, the younger students, junior high and younger, they have to wear uniforms. So if you look for the uniforms, a lot of times these kids, they don't have the uniforms, so they come to school in regular clothing. So first, second period, the first, second class, if you see these students in regular clothing, that may be a sign to say, hey, maybe they need help. The counselors do all they can to provide uniforms for the kids, but their funds are limited. Everything's limited. So that's one of the things. And for the older kids in high school, the same clothes every day. You can tell when clothes are worn and not new. So that's a couple things they can be looking out for. And a lot of times, because these kids, like I said, they have to face circumstances that no child should face. So if you know someone who's tired all the time, it could be because they're staying up worrying about problems they shouldn't have to worry about. Or you see someone at lunch eating a lot of food, you can tell that they haven't eaten in a while. So these are some signs that students can be looking out for to see, hey, maybe I can lend a hand to this person.
And Joshua, hearing this, it just breaks my heart as a mom. I have little kids, and you just don't want to think of their little peers going through this, you know, and as they're growing up. As a parent, I want to make sure my kids are sensitive to these issues. And there might be some of our viewers thinking the same thing. Why should we be concerned about homelessness when you feel like there's really not much we can do? Maybe we can be looking out for those clues, but what else can you do?
One of the big things is, like I said, clothing. Because you know how it was back in high school. You want to fit in.
You want to look good.
You want to look good. You want to fit in, and it
Right.
you know, has a sense of pride in it. So
Right.
that's one thing. We're always looking for clothing donations. So if you want to help out like that. But another thing that they can do is, well, why they should be interested in this. For me personally, not on behalf of AHOP, but for me personally, when Jesus asked Peter, do you love me? And 3 times he said, feed my sheep. So that's why it's very important to me. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I'm the type of person that you do what you can, when you can, where you can. Even if it's just giving one shirt to someone, or
Right.
$1 or a canned food to someone.
Right.
When we all come together and start doing things, that's when a problem this huge can be fixed. So it's going to take the community to come together and solve these problems, but we can do it. We can do it.
That's a great answer to the question of why should we be concerned about homelessness, because it is such a big problem, not just in A-Leaf, and you guys are doing great things in that area, but just throughout the city. If we just look around and we complain that, well, things are so bad, but we don't do anything about it, the reason we should be concerned is because if everybody does a little bit,
Go a long way.
it could go a long way, change could come. So what do you see the city of Houston doing to combat the problem of homelessness?
We've actually had the great pleasure to work with some of the city council members from the city of Houston. City council member Richard Wynn, who's from District F, the A-Leaf area, and Mike Laster from District J, which is the Sharpstown area. They've given tremendous support to AHOP and a lot of other organizations in the area, and the mayor's doing very good things for the homeless issue, housing and whatnot. So the city's doing all they can, but a government can only do so much.
Right.
And so that's when the community itself needs to step in. And we have to realize that when we realize that these are our brothers and sisters on the street. They're not just some stranger. These are our brothers and sisters. These are the people that Jesus and God told us to take care of. So when we see someone on the street, I think it's my duty to stop and see what they need. And a lot of times we have a bad perception of homeless people that, they're doing this or that.
Right.
But
so why should I help them?
Why should I help them?
They got themselves in trouble. You can fill in the blanks with what
All
people
the time,
usually
yes,
say.
ma'am.
Yeah.
But how many times have we been forgiven? How many times have we done things that we shouldn't have? We've messed up, and God's given us a second chance. So why shouldn't we pass that on to someone else?
Right. And for people who might feel like maybe you don't want to do this one-on-one, you can go through an organization like AHOP, the A-Leaf Homeless Outreach Project, and get involved, because what you guys are doing is kind of like, hey, this is the organization through which this problem is getting solved.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
Yes, ma'am.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to find out more, since you're the executive director of AHOP, what are the types of volunteers that you're looking for? What are the types of people that can come and help?
Anyone. We have families bring their kids out. We have monthly food fairs where we team up with the food bank. They come out, bring their 18-wheelers. So we're always looking for people to pass out food.
Oh, that's great.
Sometimes we go into the apartment complex, pass out bags of clothing, bags of food. So we're always looking for people to do that. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. You can find us on social media, give us a call, email, and yeah, there's pretty much anything you can think of. We'll have an opportunity for you somewhere.
So if you feel like just that's something that God's putting on your heart, that's something that you can get involved in, don't hold back, because the need is great.
Yes, it is.
And we'll share the contact information so you can reach out to Joshua at AHOP in just a few more minutes. But as executive director, what led you to get involved with AHOP? Because you clearly have a heart for helping people. Was there an experience in your life that you said, man, I have to do this?
It was, I think I went to a Bible school in Dallas, and it was in a kind of rough part of Dallas. And so I think just being there and seeing the need in the area, because we didn't grow up rich, but God took care of all of our needs. So, but seeing that when I was in college, the need that was out there, just something in me, just God put something in my heart that these people need help, and like I said earlier, I look at everyone as a brother and sister. We're all related in Christ, we're all children of God. So for me, I can't fathom leaving my brother or sister out on the street. I can't fathom, just like you said, a child not being able to eat at night, or not knowing where they're going to sleep tomorrow. It really breaks my heart, and so that's what led me to want to get into this, because before this I did nothing of the sort. I was in corporate sales, so
really
it was kind of a complete 180.
Big change.
That God turned me around. So yeah, that's why, I don't know, God, I guess, is the answer to that.
Yeah,
that's why I do what I do now.
Why you do what you
yes,
do.
Ma'am.
Well, and I think there's a song that a lot of people have heard where people might sing it in church, break my heart for what breaks yours, God. And we might sing that, but are we really willing to let God break our heart for the city of Houston, for those people in need, especially the young people, the youth, that you guys are doing such amazing things, reaching out through ALEAF, ISD, and all the schools. There's kids that would not have gotten help had AHOP not been there. And
the numbers in the school district are staggering. It's over 1,600. Homeless students within the AISD.
That is unbelievable.
So it's a staggering number, and that's why we're so urgent in what we do, and we try to do it as quick as we can, because the problem is huge, and we can't let them go hungry or sleepy, another night. Right.
Well, Joshua Baker, Executive Director, and our special guest here on Joy in Our Town. If you want to reach out to Joshua, you want to just do something to help this situation in the ALEAF community. It's AHOP, the ALEAF Homeless Outreach Project, and on our screen you have the information to contact Joshua. It's 6771 West Branch Drive, number 3203, Houston, Texas 77072. The phone number is 979-229-6356, and you can also reach out to Joshua via social media. If you just look for the ALEAF Homeless Outreach Project, just look for that on social media, look for ways to connect, because like Joshua, you were just saying, 1,600 students in the ALEAF ISD that are in great need. If we can do anything to help, even just people who think they don't have a lot to give, if all of us do a little bit,
yes, ma'am,
it will make a difference. Do you have any closing comments you want to share?
Just like I said, the problem is huge. The need is great. So anything, like you said, anything you can give, even if it's just one T-shirt, that one T-shirt will go and bless a child more than you know. Because we've given shirts to kids who've had nothing, and the smile on their face is worth everything. So, yeah, just whatever you can give, even if it's, like you said, if you don't think it's anything, it's going to mean a lot to one of these kids. And we don't have to wait for Christmas or Thanksgiving or times when people do this in a big way. We can do this in May, June, July, August, September, October, like all throughout the year. There's opportunities to help. Joshua, thanks for opening our eyes to ways that we can help and make a difference, specifically in ALEAF and through AHOP. And thank you so much for watching Joy in Our Town. We're just thrilled that, Joshua, you were here with us. I'm your host, Copelia, and we are just really, really happy that you were still here watching the show. And hopefully God will touch your heart to make a difference in Houston.
When you have a drug or alcohol problem, your whole world stops making sense. You can get help for yourself or a loved one and make sense of life again. For information, treatment referral, and most importantly, help, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
They tell me I was there, but I don't remember. I don't know where I really was. I do not know what I had for breakfast. I do not know who won the game. I don't recognize this man.
If you or someone you know is struggling with a drug or alcohol problem, there is a solution. Recovery. Call 1-800-662-HELP for information and for hope.
Through treatment, my life's a whole lot brighter now.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
All righty, we're back, and in this segment, we're going to talk about substance abuse. That's our issue, and that's our topic. We have Bob Harrell. He's the pastor and founder of COOL. I said Bob, it's Boyd. Please forgive me. Boyd Harrell. He's the pastor and founder of COOL Ministry, COOL, which means Christ over our lives. Is that right?
Life.
Life, over our life. Thank you for being with us today. We appreciate it. Now, do you want me to call you Pastor Boyd? You want me to call you Boyd?
Whatever.
Pastor Boyd, I want to definitely respect
thank you for having
the
us.
office. You're welcome. We're glad you're here. Tell us about substance abuse in our community. Is it as common as some try to make it, or is it less significant than it's made out to be?
I believe that it is completely epidemic, that it is absolutely atrocious, and it has got so many precious lives in its grip that it's just completely, totally unacceptable.
Epidemic. That's a strong word.
Strong word.
That means it's taking over.
Well, it's incredible how many people are devastated by it. Even the people who are not using and abusing the substances, the families are suffering. We have a lot of fatherlessness. We have broken homes. There's a lot of divorce. There's a lot of abuses, verbal, physical, sexual. It's absolutely atrocious.
Wow. Again, epidemic is a very strong word, and we appreciate you just being candid like that. Tell us what type of substances you're talking about. Are you talking about cocaine? You're talking about marijuana? You're talking about alcohol? What's happening?
Literally all of the above. Obviously, alcohol being legal is one of the #1 problems that we have in our society, because people tend to not even often view it as a drug.
Right.
And then, of course, now prescription pills are a big problem in our communities. And then, of course, marijuana still hits the top of the list.
In some places, it's legal.
There's a lot of heroin out there on the streets. Certainly a lot of cocaine, especially crack, and then also now this new drug it's fairly new. To me, it's new. It's called ice. It's a smokable form of methamphetamine.
Oh, ice is different from methamphetamine?
Well, ice is a smokable form, from what I understand, of methamphetamine.
Okay. Well, just naming all of those makes one think of an epidemic, because that's quite a variety. That's a buffet.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about prescription meds too, right?
Well, and then that's another thing. See, a lot of denial feeds into that, because people are addicted to the prescription medication, but because their name is on the bottle and they can so easily obtain more and more scripts from different doctors, then obviously they don't think of it as bad of a problem.
So are you telling us that when one gets a prescription, there's a sense of entitlement that is taken on? Do you feel like it's not abusing it because the doctor said you could have it?
I think in some cases, in my opinion, that is true. That is true to the call. That's partly what's happening.
Now, a lot of people are affected by the substance abuse, whether it be the person actually abusing the substance or the person who is in a relationship by way of marriage or as a parent or sibling. Talk to us about how it how it affects everyone.
Well, see, a person's sickness in the addiction to a substance, whether it's alcohol or other forms of drugs, their addiction to it makes everybody in the family sick. I guess one of the best words to explain it would be codependency. And then a lot of times we see people get into all kinds of trouble, and oftentimes it's partly because they become a victim. People do bad things out of victimization that they normally wouldn't have got involved with if there wasn't somebody in their family addicted to these drugs, which kind of opens the door to a myriad of evil.
Wow. Wow. So the family of the abuser is subsequently abused and victimized because of the drugs that the abuser is taking.
Absolutely.
So basically what you're telling us that the abuser, the substance abuser becomes an abuser on another level.
On another level.
Okay, so then those drugs cause them to become abusive to their family, whether it be just by tolerating the abuse and the behavior that is subsequent to that, or talk to us about the ways that it touches the family.
Well, in some cases, an abuser of drugs and alcohol, an addicted person, they may not necessarily be violent to their family.
I understand.
But they may deplete the resources that are vital to the well-being of the family. So therefore, if a family gets evicted from their apartment or kicked out of their home, because the abuser has spent all the money on crack or prescription pills or lottery tickets for that matter, I mean, whatever the case may be, then of course there's going to be a greater opportunity for that family to suffer violence, because obviously when confronted with those issues, then even a non-violent abuser could become violent just because they can't handle the pressure of being found out.
Oh my.
So there's a lot of things going on, and of course I think that a lot of it does stem from fatherlessness and just a brokenness inside, a void that just needs to be filled, you know, with good, wholesome family.
And there are diseases that come from this too. Haphazard and lackadaisical behavior concerning a lot of areas of one's personal life are jeopardized as a result. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Hepatitis comes out of this, HIV, AIDS, all kinds of liver disorders, blood diseases, and then of course there's mental illnesses. There's so much mental illness that runs a straight thread through substance abuse that it's just absolutely.
Give us some examples.
Well, you oftentimes in prisons and jails, the people that are caught in the grips of that, for whatever reason that they end up there, they're finding out more and more all the time that the mental illness, it can be like a dual diagnosis, if you will, where there's a substance abuse problem, but a co-occurring mental illness, whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed. They're finding more and more through their studies that dual diagnosis is just absolutely epidemic. It's just a really true to the call word to use in this place, because bipolar, real extreme highs, extreme lows, manic depressive, schizophrenia, all kinds of things come out of this. And of course a large amount of depression and discouragement. Some of that is due to malnutrition. A lot of times we see a homeless person that they're begging for a little bit of change for food or maybe something to drink, and oftentimes that would be alcohol. But what they need is water. They're dehydrated.
Dehydrated. My goodness. Okay, now Pastor Boyd, tell us this. Your organization renders help to the community.
Yes,
and you have described an epidemic problem, so obviously you can't do it by yourself. Tell us what you do, what one can expect. If I'm a drug abuser, if I have a relative or a friend or a neighbor who I know is a drug abuser or is being deeply affected by a drug abusive environment or person, tell us what is going to happen when I call Cool Ministries.
Well, thank you so much for asking. I can tell you this. Cool Ministries Incorporated is a 501c3 nonprofit organization focused on results in recovery.
Okay.
And we call it Recovery God's Way. It's a total transformation of the spirit, soul, and body. And so we just break it down. We get real hard in the paint with the issues, you know.
Okay.
Just bring it on. Stick their wig to the wall. Bring it straight on, you know.
Okay.
And
Pastor
give
Boyd, what did you say? Stick a wig to the wall?
Stick their wig to the wall. Exactly.
Okay, so somebody knows what you're talking about right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't get it, but somebody,
Yeah.
I felt like that
It's
something.
It's so important
Yeah.
to be real. People want it real. And so what we do is we have a Christian 12-step recovery program.
Okay.
And I teach that in state jails. I teach it in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. I teach it all over the county jail. We teach it in the community.
You have a captive audience there too, don't you?
Oh, we certainly do.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We do lots and lots and lots of prison ministry and jail ministry.
Okay.
And then we work in the parole office, and we work with people that are coming home. And we provide a place, a safe place, where folks that are suffering and overcoming the throes of addiction and jails and prison and time away, they have a safe place that they can come and be accepted in the beloved.
So do they live on a campus there, or is it someplace that you go in outpatient care?
This is an outpatient care type thing. Now, but on that note of inpatient, I network with a lot of different agencies here in our town.
Okay.
And I don't bar none. I mean, I really do take advantage of all of the resources that are out there in an extremely ecumenical way.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you again. If I call you and I've got a problem, I know you're going to get in the paint with my wig or something, but you're going to tell me what is going to happen. Make me understand that if I call you, if I call Cool Ministries, what's going to happen?
Okay. I'm going to receive your call.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about what it is that you're addicted to.
Okay.
What are you struggling with?
Okay.
Are you a believer? And then that's going to give me a great amount of information that I can then direct you through.
Okay.
If you tell me you're not a believer, I'm still going to help you.
I would hope so.
I'm going to
Yes.
help you every way I possibly can, but I may not send you to the church.
Now that's interesting. Okay, so but you're going to invite me to meet with you, or how is that going to? Because people watching today, if they've got a problem, they want to know what's going to happen if I call you. I appreciate everything that was said. Do you see what I'm saying? They want to know what's going to happen.
I would definitely invite them to come to our meetings. We have Christ Center 12-Step Recovery Support Group meetings in town, all over the Gulf Coast, in Northwest Houston, and then I would invite them to come to our church.
Okay, but the 12-Step program is what you're going to invite them to and begin to break down for them.
Absolutely. Yes,
okay, and you have a 12-step program that you've designed with a spiritual perspective. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but is that basically what you're saying?
It's a Christ-centered program.
Okay.
So yes,
all
ma'am.
right. Okay.
And it's called Breaking the Chains.
Okay, and you don't want us to feel like you have to go to church to get help at Cool Ministries for drug abuse.
We'll help anybody we possibly can.
That's awesome.
Any way we can.
That's good. Let me give your information, and then we'll close with a comment from you. Okay? This is Pastor Boyd Harrell. He is the founder and the pastor of Cool Ministries Incorporated. The address 5005 West 34th Street, Suite 103-C. 5005 West 34th Street, Suite 103-C, Houston, Texas 77092. Phone number 713-592-0134. Website www.coolministries.net or www.cool-church.org. Cool-church.org or coolministries.net. Cool Church. Now that's kind of cool.
Amen.
Right? That's kind of cool.
It is.
Well, I want you to tell our viewers how you can avoid cross-collateralizing your church with the ministry or the 12-step program. Is it something that you're successful at, or do people sometimes feel like they have to go to church?
Well,
kind of a yes or no.
I believe that it leads people to church.
All right, there you go.
Yes, I do.
There you go. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Thanks so much for being with us today. We appreciate you taking a peek at us, and we look forward to seeing you the next time right here on Joy in Our Town. Goodbye for now.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of KETH-TV or its management.